can do.
I'm picking Valentine, cause on the morning line, the guy's got him figured at 5 to 9.
Hello racing fans, and welcome to another edition of Handicapper's Corner, brought to you by the Derby Bar and Grill. I'm Mike Heads, along with Drew Forrester. We're going to go through the holiday Tuesday, July the 1st program at Hastings. Always a big event on the calendar, July the 1st. 4 stakes races on the program, 8 races on tap. I got the DJ, live DJ at the track. Got the
big
family
day.
Fun zone for the kids. So it's a real family day and always great. BC Cup Day, BC Derby Day, and Canada Day are always big days.
Those are our 3 signature events. And of course, 4 good stakes too.
Yeah, all the older horses, well, the 3-year-old colts, 3-year-old fillies, older mares, older geldings, all the best that we have here in the Northwest will be attending the starting gate. It should be a lot of fun.
Some of our superstars on display here today. Let's get right into it. First race.
Go ahead, you kick it off.
I'll kick it off. Claiming 8,000 fillies and mares. I've gone to the inside horse. That's the Spirit. Just won at this level by 3. Gets in light again with Corinne Andros. Carried 111 last time. Just goes up a pound to 112. I had a lot of problems with this race. I looked around, but that's the horse I kept landing on. Put Honey Skila, Mel Snow's horse, in second. Amadeo Perez sticks with that. She likes to run second, ran a good second to Fair Command, then ran second back to That's the Spirit last time. In the third spot, I put Lago de Como, our good friend George Morgan's horse. Was running in maiden special weights, dropped down to the $5,000 level, won by 3. That was going long. So one thing that worries me about her is she wants to go long. It is short, but she does stay at a lower level, so I got her in the mix too. I went 1, 6, and 5, but I really like 1 and 6.
Yeah, I went to the 2-horse, Drew. I like Storm Quality. I know the horse has been on the missing list for quite a while. He only ran once last year. Came out this spring, ran a huge race from maiden 12-5. That was a big race and drawing away at the end. And I know it was just maiden 12-5, but still, I thought it was a big effort. Obviously, something happened after the race. This horse was entered for 12-5 against 3-year-old fillies on Sunday. Scratched in favor of this spot, and at least the horse has a good work in 1 minute and 2/5. I know it was 3 weeks ago, but still, I know I'm worried about all the lack of recent activity in the mornings as well. But I think this is the speed, the controlling speed in the race. So I'm going to try her to win it. I agree with your 1 horse. That's the Spirit. She just won this condition. Why wouldn't you like her again? Just the price is going to be obviously a lot lower than it was last time. And I put the 6 Honey Skila, who finished just in behind her. I'm going to put her in for 3rd. I went 2, 1, and 6 in the Tuesday opener. You don't get to say that very often.
No, you don't.
Our Tuesday opener. On to the second race, maiden special weight. Our 2-year-olds finally get a chance to go 2 turns. They get 6 furlong race here. I got a field of 7 signed on, and I went to the 4, one of many Sylvia Gregory runners in here. Got 3 of them. The 4-horse, Seedle Surprise, good runner-up effort to exclusively. I know it was maiden 25, but that maiden 25 is pretty solid. That exclusively ended up running better than I think the Troy Taylor maiden special weight horses. So. I just thought she got beat by a pretty good one, and I'm willing to follow her back. She's a Sun Gold out of a good mare with a good family, and her works are excellent. I mean, she's not going to be short. I like the fact she's got a race under her belt. She has some speed, and she has some distance in her works, and the barn's going well. I'm going to try Seedle Surprise. I know Ryan Pacheco ends up on another Sylvia Gregory runner, which could be worth something. I don't know. He ends up on Quatre Cat. Maybe that horse is really, really nice. We'll see. I put the 1-horse Zip 2 in for 2nd. Got Zip 1 of Pedro's and Zip 2. But Zip 2, good runner-up effort to Finality's Charmer. And his debut, the only negative for me is just the 1/5/8 and 105 and change. So maybe some stamina issues. We'll see. But Pedro puts pretty strong gallops into his horses in the morning. Wouldn't be surprised to see this one outrun what appears to be not a lack of fitness, but just an abbreviated work tab. And I put the 2-horse Bullet for Dino Condolenios, filly by Dunkirk. Nice works here. Nice Keeneland purchase, or actually Keeneland purchase. This horse has got some nice works and nice minute and change.
Wouldn't be a surprise.
No, and Corinne Andros to ride. So I like 4, 1, and 2. I think Seedle Surprise is your horse. But once again, it's another race, as we always talk about. Go to the paddock, have a peek at him, and you'll find out.
With the 2-year-olds more than anything else.
The story will be told. There's a story there if you want to listen to it or see it. Definitely go to the paddock if you're at the track.
Well, I went with Quatricat. The Sylvia Gregory barn, just because Ryan Pacheco had a lot of options here. He had Quatricat, he had Seal Surprise, he had probably O'Derrick, the other Sylvia Gregory running. He had Tak Inouye's horse, Goes Way Back, who he just ran a good third on. So I'm just kind of banking that this horse can run because of the other options he had.
Isn't it comforting to finally see that Ryan Pacheco had 4 in a race and Richard Hamill and Amadeo Perez had to scrounge around for a mount?
Yeah, Richard doesn't even end up on one. Other than that, I don't have much to add. That's the horse I went to. Zip 2, you covered, Pedro Alvarado's horse, and Bullet, of course, out of the Dunkirk filly out of Dino Condolino's barn. Could be any kind. That's another one that wouldn't surprise me. I went 7, 1, and 2 in the second. On the third, 3-year-olds and up 12-5, going a mile 16th. Another tough race here. I've gone to the 5. Big Jim, Hall of Fame trainer and good friend of the show, Alan May. And Jimmy Veach's horse. This horse has just been dying to go long and hasn't had a shot to go long yet at Hastings. Last time it ran long was a 12-5 at Golden Gate, going a mile 16th, and only got beat a half a length at 6-1 with Frank Alvarado on board. I think that kind of effort here puts him right in the mix. So he gets Rico Walcott, which is a big plus. Rico in town, of course, to ride Madeira Park and title contender, of course, later on in the card. So I put Big Jim on top. I went to Mark in the second spot. Clever win for 8,000, comes right back in the 12-5 level. He gets Amadeo Perez. He should be pretty tough. And the third spot, I put Gypsy Magic, another one that won for 8. He doesn't mind the distance. He's got a couple wins at the distance. Keyshawn Balgobin takes over, or had the win on him. He sticks with him for Patty Leaney. I got him in the third spot. I got 5, 6, and 7.
Yeah, I like the 6-horse Mark. I was really impressed. Yeah. I know he's coming back on short notice, or short rest, 9 days. But I love the run because I pretty much wrote the horse off after watching the first half mile of his last race.
Yeah.
He was 3 and 4 wide. And, okay, well, it's not his day. You know, this Richard got unlucky with the trip, and he's not going to win. Well, Richard ducks to the inside on the backstretch. Ends up coming up the rail and winning full of energy. This horse is a lot of horse, and I was pretty impressed with Mark. I got to follow him back even on only 8 or 9 days rest. I put the 4-horse Bear Rock and Roll in for second. He's always money at this level. He's a cool horse. Obviously he's 9 years old. He's not as good as he once was, but he's still, you can't leave him off any tickets. And I know he hasn't been as sharp this spring, but actually he won first time out. I shouldn't say he hasn't been as sharp, but he got a great ride by Rico Walcott that day to win it. But he's in a spot where he can win, and I put the 3 Grandpa George in for third. Horse that, you know, if the pace scenario is warm enough, the mile and the 16th distance will be good for him. But there's some odd horses in here. You got Maury's Gloria filly, but there's no filly mare races going long, so she's forced to run against the boys. And as you mentioned, your top pick, Big Jim. I love him claiming a horse named Big Jim. And if you've ever seen Jimmy Veach, he's about 4'10", and it's just kind of funny that he ends up claiming a horse named Big Jim. But I went 6, 4, and 3. I really like Mark. I think as long as the short rest doesn't do him in, I think he's going to rattle off another win. On to the 4th race. This is the Chris Loza, first of 4 consecutive stakes races. Of course, named after the Hall of Fame jockey that won over 3,500 races throughout his career. Just an excellent rider, good, hard-working guy. Still, of course, training horses with his wife, Tracy McCarthy. And Chris Wilson only drew 6 horses, but maybe it's Coffee Grinder that scared them all away. Coffee Grinder, what a gorgeous-looking horse. He is a rock star-looking horse, isn't he? Yeah. I hadn't seen the horse last year or paid much attention to the horse last year, and I saw him this spring. And when he beat Slice of Red, just saw his action for a big horse. He's very athletic, and then last time he was bottled up in behind horses in the River Rock Casino race. He was bottled up in behind horses, and usually a big lanky horse won't be able to get that engine going again. Yeah. This horse is athletic. He's got a nice turn of foot. He got that giddy up going. Yeah. Richard got him out in the clear, and this horse leveled off and ran. He is the real deal, this Coffee Grinder for Butch and Renata Gordson, who of course campaigned Crazy Coffee, who of course was spelt with the K's as well, Crazy with a K and Coffee with a K. But of course he won the BC Derby, and I think it was back in 06 or 07. But Coffee Grinder looks like he's on track to be a BC Derby contender. I love this horse. This horse, the stretch out will do him, I think, nothing but justice. Yeah. I think we've only seen the tip of the iceberg with him. I put the 6th horse, Richter Red. Got some low-profile connections here, owned by waitresses and bartenders and just the everyday people that kind of partnered up on this horse. Trained by Bruce Unwin, who's an excellent trainer, and only has a small stable, but this horse, I think he'll appreciate the stretch out as well. He's the son of, you never know, out of a good mare at the end of the Rainbow, who Bruce also campaigned. And I put the one horse, Remember to Breathe, in for third, back-to-back wins, running through his conditions. So why not follow him back? He's got a win at the distance, and he might be the best of the rest. But I do like Coffee Grinder. To me, is the best by a mile. I went 5-6-1.
I went back and forth between Coffee Grinder and Remember to Breathe, because I think Remember to Breathe is a very handy little horse. Back-to-back wins, and both look very impressive, but not as impressive as Coffee Grinder's back-to-back wins. His last 2 races make him look like a handful in here, and as you mentioned, I don't think the distance.
He's going to get better.
It's just going to get better.
The longer the distances, this Coffee Grinder, touch wood, he stays sound and everything. Longer the distances get, this horse is going to get better. He's going to be tougher to beat. Exactly.
So I did put him on top. One to Remember to Breathe in the second spot. As I mentioned, I like this little horse. He's a very handy little horse. String together a couple wins there.
He's running good.
Cool little guy. And the third spot I put Distillery, another one of the Craig McPherson barn that was recently claimed off Mike Pipey for $75,000 in Santa Anita. Ran him back in an optional 80. Didn't run any good, but looks like he had a lot of problems in that race. I haven't actually watched the race, but just the lines out looked like he had a fair bit of trouble. So I put him in the third spot. He tracks Amadeo Perez, son of Dixie Union. Got a decent form on him for coming up to these parts. So I got him in the third spot. I got 5, 1, and 2 in the fourth. On to the fifth. The Monarchy for fillies and mares going a mile and 16th. And I've gone to Miss Derrick. Very impressive race, her first first long race of the year for older mares last time, and she absolutely demolished them. Not a real quick pace, and she was sitting just off it, but took control, won by 5, so I got to put her on top. The second spot, the Dave Forrester horse, Madeira Park, teams back up with Rico Walcott, who has done all the good on this mare, and I'm hoping that turns around her form, because she's had a couple disappointing finishes in the last 2 long races. But Rico Walcott seems to get the most out of her.
Your dad had a disappointing finish last weekend, too. We should note that Dave Forster, Drew's father, had
suffered a mild heart attack on Saturday night. He was at the races.
He's doing great.
Luckily, he was at the races. They got him to VGH. He was operated on very quickly. Saving him any damage to the heart or anything. He's at home now, resting as much as my mother can get him to rest.
I know. He'd want to be at the track. And, he wants to be there saddling horses.
Yeah, I imagine he'll probably make it out on Tuesday for these races.
It'd be great to see him out, but it's great news that he's back in. At least he's heading in the right road recovery.
Should be off the vets list soon. So I have his horse, Madeira Park. As I mentioned, re-teaming up with Rico Walcott. I'm hoping that they get back together like they were. And in the third spot, I put one of 2 Troy Taylor runners in here. Castanet Dancer, another one that had a very disappointing finish last time. The time before when Mario rode her, she only got beat 3 lengths. Mario, another one we should mention, back in town on Monday, cool. Super Mario. So I put Castanet Dancer in the third spot. Mario seems to really get along with this mare. Has always got a lot out of her. So she'll be running at the end, and I see her maybe getting up for a slice. But I got 5, 1, and 6 in the Monarchy.
Yeah, I agree with the 5-horse Miss Derrick. I've gone to this horse to win it. I mean, that was a visually impressive performance. It was a great trip. This Richard got to sit on a slow pace, and this horse just sprinted away, showing your superiority against those mares a couple of weeks back. Things are going to be tougher with I Think So in the race. I just, the race is going to set up a little bit different, but I still think she can settle in behind the speed and be really productive. So I got to go with her to win it. I'm going to put I Think So in there. I know she's probably at her best sprinting but a couple of her races last year going long weren't brutal. She lost to Miss Derrick on a couple of occasions. But I think she might be able to sneak away under Alex Bisono, and if the fractions are comfortable, maybe she can stick around for a big chunk of it, and maybe even win it. And I put the 2-horse Wando Woman. This horse had a tough trip. Talk about reuniting. I know Rico Walcott's reuniting with Madeira Park, who did all the good, and Amadeo did a lot of good with Wando Woman. And Wando Woman had an adventurous trip last time, and I think might be better served to sit back and make a run, and there could be a little bit more speed with I Think So in the race, and that could give Wando Woman a better shot. So give her another look. Don't leave Wando Woman off the ticket. She's live in this spot. I went 5, 7, and 2, as is Madeira Park. You just can't pick everyone. Touching Promise. It's a good race.
Pretty solid
I think it's Miss Derrick, and there's a bunch of them, but she's vulnerable.
Miss Derrick,
Miss Derrick isn't the most consistent horse.
You have to pick her off her last race.
But she's not the most consistent horse. She can throw in a clunker on you, too. So it's a good little betting race. On to the 6th race. This is the Lieutenant Governor's. Older Geldings going a mile and a 16th. It should always be a mile and 8, but a mile and a 16th. the traditional Canada Day feature.
Yep.
And I got to feel the 7 signed on. I've gone to the 2 title contender. No, nothing brilliant here. I think he's the best older horse on the grounds.
He is your heavyweight
Taylor's
champ
deal
right
isn't
now,
around.
yeah.
And maybe at this distance, even if Taylor's deal was around, the title contender would be tough. Does pick up, a couple more pounds at 123, but I think Rico and Anita Bolton are hold all the aces in here, and this is a live spot. Probably sit just off of Modern again and get a nice cushy trip. So I think title contender is your horse. I put Modern in for second. Really impressed with how game the horse was. Holding off Wildcat for second, though.
Yeah.
After being buried. Like title contender just blew the doors off him at the quarter pole. But this colt hung in tough and stayed for second, which showed me this horse has got some jam. And, down the road, this horse could be heard from. And Wildcat, who I think might get a little bit better pace scenario. Mr. Bowling, or Devil in Disguise, could change the pace scenario somewhat. We'll see. But Wildcat just needs something better than 24-48.
Yeah, he's got
keeps getting these
because he has
slow,
that nice
horrible
move,
fractions going.
but you
long.
run into fresh horses.
Yeah, but and that's why it looked like he hung last time. That was more, I think, Modern just still having horse because it went 24-48, 112. I mean, you should if you're a stake horse of this caliber, you should have some horse left. So I've gone 2, 6, and 7. I think title contender is yours.
Not much else I can add to that. Title contender is your heavyweight champ here right now. He's the one to beat. Beat him, you'll get your picture taken. I put Wildcat in the second spot. As you mentioned, a little bit more pace. And he'll come running. Amadeo Perez knows this horse. I could see him maybe. He's starting to get a lot of thirds lately. I'm hoping today he can move up into the second spot. So I put him in the second spot for our good friend Wayne Oliver. And the third spot, I put Mr. Bowling. He probably will be part of that pace scenario, but if Mario Gutierrez again aboard Mr. Bowling, I think him to relax a little bit and just like be part of it, but not the actual speed of the race. He got a 91 buyer his last start at Emerald Downs, which is huge.
I don't know, that's a high buyer, but I mean, the horse did run well.
It was a big, it was a big effort. So I put him in the third spot.
Got 100.
Yeah, he would have. That Striker PhD. He's a pretty, very handy little horse. That nice horse down there. So he got off that 91 buyer. I'm gonna throw him in the third spot, not leave him off the ticket. I went 2, 7, and 4 in the sixth. On to the seventh, the Super Naturel for 3-year-old fillies, and I have gone to number 3. Me and Mike agree on all 4 of these races. We're going with the favorites here. You're going to have to beat them.
It's not a lot of brilliant. I mean, there's not a lot to, there's no wise guy horse and stuff.
Not really. We're taking horses that have beat the horses they're running against.
Yeah, and they're beating them sprinting, and now they're getting, like Ole's Miss is getting out to her best distance, which I think where she's going to flourish at a mile and 16.
Yeah, absolutely. I think she's just going to get better. She seems to not only be getting better.
More than a nose.
Just each race, she seems to be getting better.
Yeah.
I got her on top. As I mentioned, we mentioned the distance is going to help her. Even though she is by officer, she's got the Malibu Moon on the mare side. So, and the way she runs, right?
Yeah, she's
visually, she relaxes and makes a big move. Yeah. So I can't imagine the 3 turns is going to bother her. I got her on top. Second spot, I went with Dawsalina. I don't know how much distance Dawsalina is going to get, but I have to have her on the ticket after that absolutely rock star performance last time. Just kept fighting, got unlucky to get beat by Ole's Miss, but she got an 80 buyer for it, and just like I say, just a rock star performance. You can't ask for more than that out of a pretty lightly raced little filly that started off the year for $25,000. And in the third spot, of course, I put Arabella's Muse. She's a big question mark for me in here, as she's never run long, and I don't know the way that she runs and I don't know. She seems to want to run off a lot of the time, and I don't know how she's going to act in this race. I put her in the third spot just because her almost untapped level of talent. But I have no idea what a mile and 16th is going to hold for her.
What's going to bring, I know.
So I put her in the third spot because I'm not going to leave a filly that talented off my ticket. But I don't know what to expect. I went 3, 5, and 7.
Yeah, I agree with Ole's Miss. I mean, she's not that much the best, but she's been winning, I think, she's not at her best distance.
Yeah.
And I know her lone loss, or one of her losses last year was at a mile and 16th, but I don't think she had the best trip that day, and she'd been coming off. As a 2-year-old, but she had been coming off like a July 14th to October. She's one of those U.S. breds that has the tough
gets stuck
schedule.
in the.
I know your dad had a lot of trouble with some fillies sometimes. Because all the BC bred races, BC Cup, the Futurities, and then all of a sudden
you sit on the bench and then you have to go long.
Then you got to go long, and that's what happened to this horse last year. And it's not because she can't go long; she can. And you watch her; she's a big filly that rates. And if you're a big filly that rates with a nice stride, you're going to rout. There's no doubt.
Yeah.
And then this horse will route, and she's very manageable. She's live in here. But I know she's just been winning by a whisker in her races, but still, she's, I think on the stretch out, is going to be really dangerous.
Yeah.
I went with a 7 Arabelle's Muse in for second. I know she's the best horse in the race, talent-wise.
Theoretically, yes.
But she just has to put it together. I don't know. She's got her... perhaps if there's rain.
Yeah, I know.
Because the track, when she's a funny filly. I don't know. She don't like the turns. Maybe it's too loose sometimes.
Yeah.
At the 7th or 8th race, the track gets dried out, and she's not running well on the turns. Maybe if the track's tighter, if we have rain, it's going to help her.
Grip her a little bit better.
Yeah, because she can make the turn. She's a big, long filly that needs her. Obviously, any filly needs her hind end underneath her, and she seems to be lacking in that. Just knowing and watching her, but she's gifted enough. And I put the 6 Architecture in for third, just because she's
got a pretty good record in the distance.
Flying below the radar. This horse.
Yeah.
She's a pretty nice filly.
Yeah.
And I know she's lost.
She's another one. The
couple
distance is going to help her.
But she showed last year she can route. She can run. She's a nice racehorse. And don't give up on Architecture on the stretch out. She can turn the tables on Always Miss easily. So I went 3, 7, and 6. I did leave your Docilino off, but I can see you make a strong case for the horse, and if the horse can go long, I don't know. She's not a big filly.
Yeah, I don't know if she can go long, but
like visually seeing her, like she's a gutty thing, but she's not very big.
And I'm a little got a lot of guts.
For distance. She does. You got a ton of it. She's all hard.
I'm concerned about the distance too, but I didn't want to leave her off because I got to tip my hat to her performance last time.
Okay, on to the 8th and final maiden 12-5 fillies and mares, going 6.5 furlongs, field of 9. I've gone to the 3-horse Interactive Mining, who continues to tear up the course in the mornings. 4-year-old filly, not surprising to see her in for a mid-level tag. So she's been running against better in her first 2 starts over a year ago. So obviously there's been some hiccups in her training. She's had some issues, but I love the work tab. It's been pretty steady. And there's some talent here. I'm going to go to Interactive Mining to win it. Put the 6 Country Pearl, who just lost last time. Probably not going to get a lot of value there, but still, the value was last time at 7-1, but we couldn't quite get there over Little Blossom. And I put the 9-horse Easter Sunday in for third, a filly for Jim Brown that's been working very well. There's 2 first-time starters on the outside. The 8 gone with the gray and the 9 Easter Sunday. And I went with the 9 only because the work pattern's a little bit better. He's been going every 6, 7, or 8 days, whereas gone with the gray was scratched last weekend. Got some little missing gaps. It hasn't worked since June the 8th, and so that's 23 days ago. That's a long time to not have a work. So that's why I went to the 9 for third Easter Sunday. But definitely the 3 for me. I like this horse a lot. 3, 6, and 9.
Well, Mike, I just
ruined your party. I see it at 8. Oh, I'm sorry. I'll put him in the winner's circle.
Because, here's my wise guy pick. Because the work tab isn't great, and there are some gaps in that.
But they're good. Like, they're minute.
She's got a minute and 2 work here, so there's some talent there. But Mike Anderson runs his horses fairly aggressively, and because she's a Storm Victory out of a local mare, and there's nothing really flashy about her. I think Mike probably could have started her for maiden 5. She could have went right to the bottom. But he starts at maiden 12-5. He gets Hamill. Their numbers are good together. I think this is maybe a sneaky play on, to kind of a horse to keep an eye on in a race where I wasn't really over the top about anybody. So I put Gone with the Gray on top. Interactive Mining.
A good friend of the show, Army.
Yes, our buddy Army. He comes in here and
but you can't miss him. As he's total opposite to Big Jim.
Big Jim, he should have a horse named
Jimmy Beach is 4'11".
You should have a horse named Little Army.
Little Army. Yeah, he's about 6'7".
Yes. So I went with Army's horse in here. Gone with the Gray. Interactive Mining, as you mentioned, probably the horse to beat in here, taking the big drop from the Maiden Special Weight Company, but that was some time ago. That was a
that's a
year
once again,
ago.
Another paddock visit would be wise. Another paddock visit to have a look at these horses, because a lot of horses off a long time and some first time starters.
That's why I was kind of jumping around. That's why I went the first time starter. Interactive Mining in the second spot, and Country Pearl, horse you mentioned, Bill McLaren's charging here under Gabrielle Cenzio in the third spot. 8, 3, and 6 in the nightcap for me. That will do it for our Tuesday, July 1st, Canada Day.
It's already July. We're getting here halfway through the season.
We are getting deep into the Hastings season.
Up next on screen will be our selections for
there
the Tuesday program. Back in race number 1, I went to the 2-horse Storm Quality. I'm going to hope for a rebound, another great performance. Been off a while though. 2, 1, and 6 for me in the opener. Second race went to the 4, Seedle Surprise. 4, 1, and 2, our first 6-furlong 2-year-old race. Race number 3, I went to the 6, Mark. I'm looking for a repeat from him. 6, 4, and 3. Race number 4, the 5, Coffee Grinder. I'm impressed with him. He's a nice colt. 5, 6, and 1 for me in the 4th. And the 5th race, number 5, Miss Derrick over the 7 and 2. Looks like Craig McPherson's going to have another great day. The 6th race, number 2, Title Contender over the 6 Modern and the 7 Wilo Cat. 7th race, number 3, Ole's Miss over the 7 Arabella's Muse and the 6 Architecture. And the 8th and final, I'm going to the 3 Mining Interactive. 3, 6, and 9.
Up next will be my picks there. We go in the first race. I went to the 1, that's the Spirit, over the 6 and the 5. In the second, I went to the 7, Quattro Cat, over the 1 and the 2. In the third, I went to the 5, Big Jim, over the 6 and 7. In the fourth, here we go, into the stakes. I agree with Mike on all these. Number 5, Coffee Grinder, over the 1 and the 2. In the fifth, number 5, Miss Derrick, over the 1 and the 6. In the sixth, number 2, Title Contender, over the 7 and the 4. And in the seventh, number 3, Ole's Miss, over the 5 and the 7. Then in the nightcap, the 8th, I went with the 8, the first-time starter, Gone with the Grey, over the 3 and the 6.
Well, thanks everyone for tuning in. Happy Canada Day to everyone. Yep. And if you can't make it out to the track, should be a great day. Please do try and make it out to the track. It's a fun atmosphere on the holiday programs, and lots of fun and lots going on. You
might even get to see a celebrity like me or Mike there.
Yes, you might get to see us. And if you can't make it out, don't forget you got the Derby Bar and Grill to watch the Tuesday holiday programs. So it should be a lot of fun. Next live cards will be next Saturday and Sunday, July the 5th. And July the 6th, we will have some more racing action the following weekend. On behalf of Drew, thanks for tuning in, everyone. Hopefully we've given you some good insight. We'll see you next time here on Handicapper's Corner.
Do this here in the Telegraph. Football Rivera.